Congressional hearings on steroid use by professional athletes caught the attention of the American public, but what many observers failed to see was the involvement of the company manufacturing and distributing the drugs. When asked to consider the crime problem, the public generally thinks in terms of street crime, homicide, sexual assault, robbery, and burglary. White-collar crime may be less obvious but can be more harmful. An examination of white-collar crime includes a review of the forms, causes and consequences, relevant social scientific theories, the mechanics of this type of crime, how the schemes work, who perpetrates them, and the relationship to the environment in which they are perpetrated. The term white-collar crime was first used by Edwin Sutherland in 1939. Sutherland argued that this type of crime differed from other crimes in the administrative procedures used in dealing with offenders. He defined white-collar crimes as those committed by persons of respectability and high social status in the course of their occupation. Sutherland went on to state that, because of the political and financial power of white-collar criminals and the use of alternate response mechanisms, information on these crimes was lacking. The data that was available suggested that white-collar crime was far more costly than street crime. Sutherland's recognition of the extent of white-collar crime forced a re-examination of the common theories for crime commission. Sutherland's remarks came at a time when the United States had moved from a rural, agrarian society to an urban, industrial one dominated by powerful corporations. Journalists referred to as muckrakers were beginning to examine abusive corporate practices, and Congress had legislated against monopolistic practices. Ponzi or pyramid schemes emerged. Simply put, these schemes involved the payment of early investors with money from later investors. Ponzi schemes are still alive and well in the 21st century as evidenced by the proliferation of spam offerings on the Internet. The Great Depression and its populist anti-authoritarian sentiment gave way to 2 decades of conformity and public confidence in the guidance of corporate America. The faith in corporate America was misplaced. Events in the late 1960s and early 1970s would make Americans suspicious and skeptical of private and governmental organizations. Scholarly focus on white-collar crime also increased. The 1980s spawned white-collar crimes of epic proportions. The case study of Barry Minkow, the $80 million kid, describes the poster child of the greed decade. Minkow used a variety of criminal techniques to create a false impression of a successful company called Z-Best. Shortly after his 21st birthday, Minkow met with Drexel Burnham Lambert, a Wall Street firm that agreed to promote an $80 million junk bond sale. Fortunately for investors, not long after that a Los Angeles Times article exposed Minkow. He was found guilty on 57 counts of criminal wrongdoing and sentenced to 25 years in federal prison.